Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. We'll start 2 minutes after the hour. So thank you for your patience. Hello again, and thank you for joining. We still have some people logging in, so we're going to start in 1 minute. So thank you again for your patience. So hi, everybody. My name is Stuart Bierig, and I am a Vice President of Pre-Sales at Panaya. I support the Americas region in their sales initiatives. I've been working with ERP and testing platforms for close to 15 years. And while at Panaya, I have interfaced with hundreds of customers, prospects, integrators, and vendors, sharing war stories about their challenges and the opportunities relating to enterprise change, enterprise testing, and risk mitigation. So I'm excited about today's session, and I would like to personally thank you all for participating today. We're halfway through July, believe it or not, especially if you have kids in school. Summer's almost over. But I'd like to wish you all and your families an enjoyable summer, hopefully with a little bit of vacation baked in. While we wait for a few latecomers to join, let's take 2 quick polls. So our first poll is, what is your current tool for managing testing? Please select the most relevant answer, as it will help me frame my presentation and demo to better resonate with you, the audience. So thank you. We'll wait about 30 seconds until we post the results. Okay, why don't let's go ahead and see. All right, so we got 60%. Actually, that's not uncommon that about 80% of existing testing operations are run with Excel and Micro Focus QC. They're both probably the incumbents over many, many decades. So thank you for sharing. Our second poll is about what applications you're actually testing. So other than your core ERP platform, which business critical applications are a focus of upcoming projects and innovations? So again, we'll give you about 25 seconds. Okay, let's see what we got. All right, so we got Salesforce. Okay, again, Salesforce, SuccessFactors, Workday, all very common web applications. So thank you for that. And I'll try to weave in some relevant use cases that talk about these applications as we go on. So again, thank you very much for the context. Final housekeeping rules before we get started. We have a rather large audience, so all lines are muted for optimal sound quality. We will be answering your questions during this webinar, so please feel free to submit them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we will answer them towards the end of the webinar. If we do run out of time, we will answer them offline and reply via email. So rest assured, we will not ignore your inquiries. This session is being recorded, and we will, of course, share the recording with all attendees. So let's dive in today's webinar. In this session, we're going to discuss the realities that are making testing more important than ever before. We will then discuss some of the most critical challenges that companies face when trying to scale their testing operations. We will also spend some time detailing how Agile and DevOps frameworks are at risk when testing operations are suboptimal. And lastly, I will show you in a live demo how a powerful test management and execution tool, such as Panaya Test Dynamics, can assist in solving these issues with minimal effort and maximum value. So let's get to it. Let's first discuss realities that are making testing more important than ever before. So why do we change? I think this is a great quote by Winston Churchill. I found it a while ago. I use it in a lot of my presentations. The bottom line is we change so that we can make things better. We change often so we can achieve or try to achieve perfection in our activities and our responsibilities. Change is important. We learn from our mistakes. We learn how to improve. And in order to implement, we have to change. In today's hyper-accelerated world, change is the only constant. Markets and economic conditions swing back and forth almost on a daily basis. Businesses adjust to new customer needs and competitors all the time. Today's innovations become yesterday's news, old news, in fact. And we believe that to thrive in the world competitively, businesses must learn to change freely and continuously. Change and transformations are all around us. Whether we like it or not, change is something that every organization must do. And these are just a few examples of key projects that global enterprises are running, many in parallel to each other. But gone are the days when most business-critical operations are running within core ERP platforms. Both SAP and Oracle are shifting many key business functions from their core platforms to edge apps that are running in the cloud. And companies are leaving functionality in ERP platforms and instead are adopting best-of-breed cloud applications to run key processes, again, outside of their ERP applications. Companies are embarking on many projects at a dizzying pace. Some are geared to produce quantifiable ROI. Others are to introduce valuable operational efficiencies into the workplace. And most of these initiatives must be rolled out across multiple sites, often requiring minor tweaks to functionality in order to accommodate the unique needs of business parameters that are specific to each and every site that are part of rollouts. These are just examples of some of the applications that our Panaya customers are using Panaya Test Dynamics for. And we are going to give very concrete examples of them later on in some success stories. To make matters even more complex, critical business processes now span multiple applications and interfaces, much more than ever before. This adds complexity to the user experience. This adds complexity to the development process. And this adds complexity to business process testing and validation. It's not just testing in SAP GUI anymore or Oracle Java front ends. Business processes and the business stakeholders that run them must both be positively impacted by these transformational projects. Yes, change and transformation may be disruptive at first. New products and new interfaces usually are. But if the bottom line can be impacted, it will usually work out in the end, providing, of course, that the implemented changes work as designed. As Winston Churchill said, change is all about improving things and trying to achieve perfection for both people and for the processes that they run. To ensure that changes meet the need of their impacted stakeholders, they must be tested and validated. Untested changes run a great risk of introducing go-live errors in production. And these errors can shut down operations, cost millions of dollars in lost revenue and productivity. I've spoken to many customers and prospects over the years who have confess and admitted to experiencing significant go-live errors due to poor testing. But none of them, not a single one of them, ever reveals the actual monetary cost to the business because of that go-live error. So they look to fix them, but they won't tell how much it costs. Obviously, because there might be a licensing negotiation behind that. So now that we've reviewed why testing is so critical, let's review some testing challenges faced today by organizations across the globe. As mentioned earlier, organizations are faced with a flood of projects and innovation streams, all designed to improve processes and efficiencies. But these initiatives are more complex than ever before, and they are occurring more often as companies try ever harder to achieve, again, greater efficiencies and competitive advantages. Business pressures are now forcing business users to demand more innovation from their IT and development teams. This further compounds the issue of more applications, more interfaces, more changes, more disruptions, more risk. To make matters even more complex, additional pressures are being put out on the testing teams themselves. The need to automate is a nirvana that everybody is trying to achieve, but implementing automation is not simple. Earlier, we heard that 80% of the audience is using Excel and Micro Focus QC, right? To add automation into that is a significant disruption. It takes time, and it can only be done once the UATs actually validate and production proves out that everything is working okay. So in those transformational initiatives, automation takes a phase 2 approach. Agile DevOps methodologies have become a given, not just an option. And exposing test status, defect status, risk status in the platforms that are running both Agile and DevOps is critical to the success of those operations. Decision makers more than ever need actionable real-time insights. I remember days where there would be weekly meetings on project status where people would be looking at a printout of PowerPoint charts based on Excel, based on multiple downloads to create pivot tables, et cetera. You can't do that anymore. You need real-time actionable insights to make real decisions. There's a greater need for compliance, and not just for companies that are running in environments that are heavily regulated, but better control over who can edit what, who can download what, who can change what in the middle of a test cycle, for example. Or it becomes more imperative as testing is playing a more critical role in ensuring error-free go-live. Massive change is also putting a damper on business confidence. If changes are implemented and you're getting bugs, right, the business really needs to feel more comfortable. They need to have that warm and cozy feeling that all of these initiatives that are meant for their benefit, that are meant for the company's benefit, are actually going to work. And so a better testing tool is going to achieve greater business confidence. Finally, economic pressures are forcing organizations to get more done with less. This seems to be the mantra of almost every CIO today. Do more, faster, and with less resources. These pressures force companies to reevaluate the testing tools that they've been using for decades. Excel and QC are just examples, and they've been serving companies very, very well. But they cannot scale to meet the needs of major innovation initiatives, especially multiple ones in parallel that require efficient and more accelerated testing capabilities. So to summarize, enterprise innovation is faster and more complex than ever. More applications need to be tested, more interfaces need to be tested, more stakeholders need to be involved in the testing, more business pressures to, again, roll out more innovations quicker. These challenges lead to risk of trying to cut corners to do things faster, which again leads to nasty surprises in production. But let's not forget the elephant in the room. All these changes typically now need to be developed within Agile and DevOps frameworks. I remember a time when Agile was a new concept that was being tested out by specific development teams to determine its effectiveness. But today, Agile is pervasive across the entire enterprise. Even ERP development teams have adopted Agile methodologies. They were like the last holdout, and they're using Agile tools to manage their innovation streams. I know the value that Agile brings to the table, but I also see many cases of employee burnout as the fast pace of innovation just never slows down. Transformational initiatives that are part of an agile methodology process require speed and, pardon the pun, agility. Manual testing is necessary when processes and interfaces are being changed, and users must confirm that critical changes work as designed before they get rolled out into production. Testers must validate transformational changes before they are deployed into production. It's just a fact. Manual testing is therefore critical to Agile, but it cannot slow down that pace of innovation. Testing cannot become a bottleneck to Agile. If inefficient manual testing processes are embedded within an Agile methodology, your epics, user stories, and Scrum cycles will never complete in an effective manner. And it would be as if a large wrench is thrown into a highly efficient yet delicate machine. Delays will impact delivery deadlines. Rushing deployments into production will lead to go-live errors. We have a very large customer, a global mining concern. They had a major issue where they were rolling out, in this case, SAP transports were being deployed on a bi-weekly basis following new Agile dictates. And they just couldn't test everything that they thought that they needed. And Panaya was able to show, based on the changes that were being considered for deployment, here are the testing that needs to be done. They are able to cut down on their UAT cycles, cut down on their regression cycles, to only focus on the tests that matter, so that the test cycle took less time. It could fit within that 2-week Agile timeframe. Key decisioning within Agile and DevOps frameworks must rely on critical information that is surfaced within those very same platforms. Most Agile project managers do not actually run the tests. The stakeholders do. But they need to know the status of those tests and any related defects in order to approve or delay those deployments. Efficient testing tools are needed, but also ones that embed their intelligence within Agile and DevOps applications, showing critical risk factors that are necessary for fast and safe innovation. Just another quick customer example, a relatively new customer to test Panaya Test Dynamics, but they're a global Jira shop. And they bought our tool because it significantly accelerates the manual testing experience. But one of the requirements was that the test and the defect status show up in Jira, all right? Because they live in Jira. All the key decision making is done in Jira. And to understand if there are tests that have not been run, if there are tests that have failed, if there are open defects, that needed to be in Jira. They wanted to use Panaya to run the testing. They wanted to use Panaya for the accelerated defect management. You will see examples of this in the demo very shortly, but they're leveraging our Jira app in this specific instance to surface the risk so that it can make better decisions faster. The Panaya value proposition is plain and simple. Panaya enables companies to accelerate and de-risk their innovation streams. With Panaya, you can innovate faster and achieve greater efficiencies without errors slipping through the cracks. Let's see how. There's a website called 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐷.com. I call it the Yelp for software products, where thousands and thousands of actual users of applications rate the applications that they're working on. And Panaya has been the recognized market leader in enterprise test management for 10 consecutive quarters. And this isn't because of an analyst report. It isn't because of a marketecture video. It's because real users are telling others how easy and efficient the platform is. For the past few years, we've had millions of tests run in our platform. And this is just a few quotes from some of our customers talking about how the Panaya platform is shrinking timelines by 50% or more, and how they're able to, with the time saving, actually accelerate transformational initiatives within their enterprises, while at the same time minimizing go-live errors, maximizing the quality of their rollouts. Bottom line is, you get more testing done with our platform. And if you could get more testing done, you're rolling out innovation faster. And if you're rolling out innovation faster, you're supporting your business and your senior management even better than before. So here's some key differentiators of the Panaya platform. First and foremost, we provide a uniform operating environment. Our test management, our defect management, our SAP change analysis. I gave an example a little earlier, even Oracle EBS analysis, and upgrade. All of our capabilities run in the same simple SaaS platform with the same interface. Our entities, whether it's tests and defects and correction tasks that we identify, they all correlate to each other naturally and natively within the platform. That just makes it easier to get your work done and easier for you to get work done. With our change analysis, we correlate technical risks to tests. That allows you to not only guarantee that you're testing all of the impacted areas of your ERP and Salesforce projects, but we will also optimize so that you only have to run the tests that matter, that you can ignore tests that have no relationship to anything that is impacted. We'll also identify test gaps for you instantly in real time. So you can, again, achieve that nirvana of 100% test coverage, whether you're using us for manual or for automated testing. And automated testing is actually an exciting part because we talked about how important manual testing is for initial innovations, but Panaya also offers an innovation platform that's built in, again, native. It leverages a lot of the same features and capabilities if you've been using Panaya in the past that will allow you to further accelerate your journey to automation or automate further your innovation acceleration. A demo of our automation platform is not going to be held. It's out of scope of today's session, but it's something we look forward to sharing with you in the near future. We have a very powerful collaborative environment. You'll see some of that in the demo, right? Both business and IT collaborate very effectively together. And it's just easy. We do a lot of the communication for you. So if one person finishes the test, the next person is notified automatically by Panaya. And it's just amazing, right? And again, we're simple. The user interface is very differentiating. We can deploy new environments in a matter of minutes. Onboarding is usually if you're a test manager, it takes about 4 hours. If you're just a tester, it takes about 2 hours. It's just that easy to use. You hit the ground running. You're deploying globally. People across the globe are working together as if they were working across the aisle from each other. And lastly, we talked about the need for insights. You'll see this in the demo. We give you real-time actionable insights. You could just drill in anytime you see a number, anytime you see a link, you could drill in to see the details. You could act upon them all instantly, all automatically. And again, you're going to see examples of that in today's demonstration. And this is why we've been around for 17 years. We're a profitable software company. And again, we're the enterprise leader in test defect management, as well as in ERP impact analysis. That's also out of scope of today's session. We have thousands of customers that have relied on us each and every day to deploy innovation in their mission critical systems quickly and safely. And many of these logos are global brands that you easily recognize. And we also have a growing partner ecosystem because we have implementation partners that are leveraging us to further accelerate and de-risk the projects that they're providing to their own customers that are making them more valuable to their customer base, becoming more trusted to their customers. So Panaya becomes a strategic tool in their belt of many other products that they use. And again, to summarize, we are a unified platform for all your testing needs. We support multiple applications, multiple interfaces, SAP GUI, other thick client interfaces, web interfaces, SAP, Fiori, Salesforce Web, etc., Workdays, etc. I'm not going to list them all. We do that code change impact analysis for ERP platforms. We automatically correlate together. And again, the addition of our no-code automation offering basically provides you a one-stop shop for anything that requires testing, that anything requires test automation going forward. So now 2 quick customer stories, and then we'll hop into the demo. Johnson Controls is a global manufacturing company with about $31 billion in annual revenue. They have been using Panaya to help accelerate significant migration of legacy applications into S/4HANA. They have a greenfield SAP S/4HANA environment, and before they actually convert their existing SAP environment over, they are moving older systems on older platforms that require specific administration, specific servers and operating systems. They're moving 90+ applications out of those systems into SAP, and therefore they're going to streamline and rationalize all those costs. right? A significant amount of testing is required for this initial initiative. And our very first project actually was taking an older system, and they built a Salesforce front end that would push data into SAP. And that was our very first testing project with them. And now they're using us for native SAP testing as well in Fiori. And they also are doing an Oracle Fusion Cloud transformation that requires its own set of testing, right? They have thousands of testing users. They don't necessarily log in every day, every month, but they're required to validate whenever a change or transformation is made to a process that they're responsible for. And it's significantly accelerating their overall migration path. And more importantly, it's leading to error-free go-live deployments. It's very, very powerful. Again, we talked about differentiating ease of use. And again, they also had WorkSoft, and we have powerful interoperabilities with WorkSoft, a separate automation platform. But again, the ease of use, the test acceleration is allowing them to go live faster with many parallel projects. Our second use case is a company called Grupo Bimbo, based in Central and South America with operations in North America, US, Canada, as well as in Europe. They're a food, baked goods manufacturing company. Again, $22 billion in revenue. They have embarked on a multi-site rollout of Oracle Fusion Cloud. They are all on Oracle EBS, and each of their countries have some unique permutations to how they're running. So they're trying to standardize their processes as much as possible. But that means that every one of their existing processes is being changed. And therefore, the key business stakeholders need to test and validate it before they can go live. And as they are doing this migration from country to country, from site to site, significant amount of manual testing needs to occur. And they realized that their existing product, which was Micro Focus QC, just could not scale. They could not get enough testing done as quickly as possible using, again, an incumbent platform that provided them very good service over the decades, but they realized it would not be good enough, looked at alternatives and chose Panaya. When they start rollouts in a new site, in a new country, people are getting nervous because they know that everything's going to change. Their platform, their thick client platform is being replaced. Their processes are being re-engineered to follow a more standard way of getting business done. So what this company is doing, what Grupo Bimbo is doing, is they're putting posters out in the new sites and saying, hey, look, we're about to roll out this Fusion Cloud solution, but rest assured, you're going to be able to test it efficiently and validate everything using Panaya. So they're kind of putting these business, we talked about business confidence earlier. We're putting their key business stakeholders and their key users at ease. You're going to get a better solution, and we're going to allow you to easily test and validate that the solution is going to meet your needs. And you're going to get it done faster. So these rollouts can, again, go live quicker without any nasty surprises. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that some of the accelerations that we do is not just on the collaboration side, but we also auto-generate test evidence. And you'll see that very shortly in the demo. And this saves a lot of time. We have another customer just spoke at an SAP Insider event. They said if people follow a script and run a test scenario without taking any notes, without copying and pasting and taking screenshots, the test takes about 4 or 5 minutes to follow. Go here, go there, click there, enter this data, boom, hit a button. Okay, it looks like the order was fulfilled, and now you have an order number. Okay, but to run that test in their manual process without Panaya took about 30 minutes because of all the copying and pasting and screenshots that I had to take. So what they did was they took a 30-minute test process, and with Panaya, they shrunk it back down to almost operating at the pace of the business process itself. So key stakeholders no longer get upset when they're forced to do some testing because they know it's easy, they know it's fast, and before they know it, they're going to be back to their regular jobs. So before I start my demo, let's run one final poll. Okay, what is your specific role in regards to testing? So please select an answer. Just choose the ones that fit the most, and we will reveal everything in about 15-20 seconds. And while we're doing that, I am going to minimize my screen and open up my demo environment. Okay, let's go ahead and see the results. All right, so we have, okay, very good. So the majority of our audience today are QA managers and developers. So I will spend some time in the demo focusing on some management responsibilities, also some test acceleration. And we'll also, you know what, for the IT dev folks out there, I'll go off script and I will log a defect and I'll show you how powerful our defect management capabilities are and how we're not only going to make it easier for testers, but for the development folks in the audience, you're going to see how we're going to significantly make it easier for you to understand what caused the defect so you could fix it quickly and address it quickly. All right, so let's go ahead. So here we're looking, I'm in a Panaya project. I'm going to start already in the project looking at a dashboard. Panaya has a very powerful dashboard capability. You can create your own dashboards. You can share them with others. You can customize them with a growing library of widgets that can be dragged in, and it's all codeless in nature. So that you can build your own dashboard that focuses on the KPIs that are important to you, the metrics that you need to monitor. So those test managers out there, this is a fictional sales portal project that is moving into, it's leveraging a new Fiori technology. That's an SAP HTML5 platform. And the test manager is just tracking what's going on in this project. And so we could see right away that on the upper right, the most important things are any critical or high priority defects that are open. We got a green light for that. That's a good sign. Okay, but we can see that there are some critical tests that are in the backlog. And now, again, this could hypothetically be a project that needs to roll out at the end of the month. It's already the 20th of the month, so we're running out of time. So again, everything is actionable in real time. So the manager is going to click and he's going to see, okay, here are those 3 tests. We see that, you see this green light here that's ready to test. If there was a defect blocking one of those tests, then it would not show green. If there was this was potentially an upgrade project where there was a auto-generated correction test by Panaya's impact engine, all right, and it linked to this test, and that correction wasn't marked as complete, then it also wouldn't be ready to test. But these are ready to go, and in fact, one of the tests has already started, but you could see that all 3 of them were assigned to Harvey. Now, we know as a test manager, Harvey's on the testing team. Harvey's on vacation this week with his family. And I can't wait for Harvey to get back on Monday to run these tests. So as a manager, I could do many different things. I could edit all of them simultaneously and reassign them to somebody very, very quickly. But as a good manager, what do? I want to do even less than that. So I'm going to delegate this to the people who are actually working on it. So I'm going to say TDX webinar broadcast. I apologize for my bad typing. Let's see from my hair, I'm old school. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and that's going to send an email and a message to all of the key stakeholders that were assigned to these tests. Okay, so again, I can get work done faster. I can have meetings to track status using out-of-the-box dashboards, and I can just get my work done very, very quickly. But let's just click into one of these tests so you see what a test looks like in Panaya. And you'll see here that you'll notice here that we have different tabs for defect management. This is for code corrections, which is out of scope of today, but everything is integrated in the same SaaS platform, the same look and feel, the same tabbed interface. Panaya supports custom tabs, custom fields of any type, any data type. And we can see here, this is a fictional enablement test where we have multiple steps, each one spanning a different application and interface. So step 1 was to enable a specific line item for online sales. And again, we're going to use a T code. It's if you know SAP, this is not a T code for that operation, but again, it's an SAP GUI transaction code that was already run by Mark. That meant that Harvey already received an email in his inbox, but we know Harvey's on vacation. All right. The next step is to run to make sure that that item is available on the sales portal. And in that case, we're going to log into a web interface, which is built on SAP Fiori. And the third, which we won't cover today, is just go into a Salesforce environment because my company is using Salesforce for order fulfillment. And we just need to make sure that the data was pushed into Salesforce, that a tracking number was generated and everything looks good. And the person who orders this newly enabled product is actually going to receive it within a day or two. Right. So again, I'm a manager and I know that Harvey's on vacation. Now I did send a broadcast out. So if I go to my comment, you'll see that here is what was added. So not only were the emails sent out, but any collaboration that's done within our test persists within the comments tab. You can see I've done quite a few demos using this specific test asset. But again, Harvey's on vacation. So let's go ahead and assign it to Stuart. Okay, that's me. Now, I'm actually playing a dual role in this demo. I'm logged in as Tony. Tony is the test manager, the QA manager, but I, in real life, am Stuart. So my email is Stuart. So by saving this, all right, and so Tony knows that Stuart's around. He works with Harvey. He'll be the perfect person to run this test. And you're going to see that Stuart will receive an email from Panaya that's saying it's time for you to run a test. Now, when I came in the morning, I didn't think I had any tests to do. And I didn't even have any dream of logging into Panaya. You can see here that Panaya has a counter and a queue for the people who are logged in. All right, but I didn't have any tests, so I didn't need to log in. But the email with a link will take me directly here. All right. Now, I go in and I've used Panaya before, so I'm very happy with it. And so naturally, I'm going to say, look, I'm just going to go ahead and start kicking off this test. Okay. But as I kick off the test, well, again, remember, it was assigned to Stuart, but I'm logged in as Tony. So I get a little, warning sign. And it's going to kick off again. Everything we do is SaaS and everything we do is simple. So it's going to kick off a browser extension that's actually going to do the recording. But before I start recording, I realized, wait a minute, I need to be double sure what I'm about to do. Okay. I know I have to check the portal, but you know what? Maybe Tony, the QA manager, gave me specific instructions. So he wants me to select this specific item. He wants me to follow these steps. He actually gave me a Word document, okay, with the specific script I have to follow. And if I'm interested, I can go to any previous step and look at the evidence that was auto-generated to see what the previous tester did. Because sometimes I need to know exactly what they did. Maybe it's not just enough that I get an order number or a success, validation. So I have this all right here at my fingertips. But let's say I know all that, so let's just start recording. Okay, this blinking red light is indicative of that the recording option is on. All right, so what did I say I'm going to do? I'm going to go into a Fiori environment. Now, remember, there are IT people here. So I'm going to do an abbreviated test, and I'm going to log what I'll call a defect. It should be a non-critical defect, but I'm a business user. So, everything in life is critical for business. But again, I'm going to follow my script, which says go here. The script says go to desktop computers. It's going to tell me, look for this specific product that the previous step enabled for online orders. This Gaming Monster product is now available. Now, you'll notice on the upper right, I have a cart symbol here. And anyone who's done any online shopping knows that as soon as I hit the add to cart button, which I just did, there should be a number here, some indication that there's actually items in my cart. This is a bug, okay? It's not a critical bug, but it's a bug. So let's go see, how would we do that in testing, all right? So I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna log a defect by hitting the bug icon. It's gonna open up a new defect in Panaya, okay? And I'll call it webinar defect. Apologize for the bad spelling. I can put in some additional details. We'll just say miscellaneous text. We can bold it, we can color it, we can add images, we can do a lot of really cool things. But look what Panaya did. It took a screenshot of where I was when the defect occurred. So, if there was an error message or something like that, it would pick it up. Again, that's my little Zoom thing there. Okay, but I am going to make it easy for my IT team. I'm going to show them exactly where the issue is. I'm going to just, make it perfect for them. Okay, and I could add text here. I could put more context if I want to. I'm going to go ahead and save that. All right. So that edited image now persists in the defect that I just created. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this defect. Okay. Okay. Now I'm in the Panaya defect area. So let's get out of that right now. Let's go back to our testing. You can see we still have that blinking red light going. All right. Let's go ahead. We'll click it on. You can see here's the Gaming Monster. It was added to my cart. I'm going to hit proceed. I'm going to go to step 2. I'm going to choose bank transfer for my payment. And again, just for time, I'm not going to go through the entire process. Let's say I enter data, I click more buttons, everything looked good. Okay. Everything is fine. So I'm going to say passed. I'm going to say item shows in portal. These are optional comments. And I'm going to say logged minor defect. Okay. For cart UE. Okay. hit save. Now, remember, the third step was assigned to Tony, and I'm logged into Panaya's Tony, but I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to run that right now. So let's get out of this. Let's go back into Panaya. You see my hands are in the air, automatically refreshed, okay? This is marked as passed. My status is updated. I'm still in progress, but I'm 2 out of 3 completed. You can see here on the right. Tony received an email from Panaya that says it's time for him to test. Notice when Tony logs in, number 3 is now number 4. It got updated for him automatically. So all the collaboration, the passing of the baton, the ability to share previous work, share evidence automatically, right, is all handled for you. All right. Let's take a quick look at the evidence that was auto-generated behind the scenes. Remember that person, a customer of ours, said that they follow a 5-minute script that would take them 30 minutes to build the evidence for. And we're automatically creating this for people. So let's go take a look at that. All right. You can see here, it showed, oh, look, Tony Stark, that's the guy who ran the test. Okay. This is where he went. All right. This is, he clicked on here. So let's take a look at that screenshot. All right. The screenshot is showing us, where he went, and here's the button that he clicked on, okay? And we can go to the next one. And then I chose desktop computers, and I chose Gaming Monster. And then I hit add to cart. Notice it follows everything. Remember I paused along the way and logged a defect? That did not interfere with my recorder, okay? My recorder is just focused on the process that was being tested. This evidence, auto-generated behind the scenes, saves testers an extremely large amount of time. And that's why testers love using Panaya. This evidence can be exported to Word or PDF. You could use it as the beginning of training material. Remember, this Fiori portal didn't exist before. I may need to send out training documentation for all my partners that are going to use it to order stuff. All right. So now I got all the steps. I got all the screenshots, and my training team could just use that. And that's 90% of their content already built for them. If it's regulated, I could export it to PDF. I could hand it off to someone who needs to audit things. Right? Very, very powerful capabilities. Right? Now, this is just a brief snippet of all the powerful accelerators within our manual testing platform. All right. But again, I wanted to show that for the testing perspective and for the QA management. I'll show some other things as well. But let's go and let's make those IT people happy and show them one more thing. So if we go to the defect list. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm not looking at my all. Let's go to all defects. Here's the webinar, my misspelled webinar defect that I logged. Okay. I just logged this a few minutes ago, and here's that screenshot. It has all these values in it. Again, same tabbed interface, same look and feel. So let's look at one thing here that Panaya automatically captured for my IT team. Okay. The steps that led to the clicking of that defect button are tracked within the defect itself. And again, I can look at this evidence step by step. So I know exactly where to go. I know exactly what to click. I know exactly that if I hit desktop computers and I hit the Gaming Monster, that's going to lead to the error. All right. How many times does your IT people call up a business user and say, listen, you logged a defect because you're doing X, Y, and Z, and it led to, and you showed me a screenshot of an error. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. All right. And it's not leading to an error. But now they know exactly what they need to select, exactly what data points to put in. They don't have to reach out to IT to start working, identifying the root cause and working on the defect. So I wanted to show you that very quickly. And the last thing, again, going back to the test managers in the audience, I want to show you some of this. So we showed you the dashboards, but this is just a list of all the cycles. It's a demo environment. It's a little overbuilt. But again, the first two, these were auto-generated by Panaya if you were doing an SAP or Oracle upgrade or conversion. Okay, we will auto-generate the unit tests. Okay, this is a case where I've synchronized maybe with an external automated regression cycle. Here is the cycle that I was working on. Remember, I ran a test within this cycle. So I just want to show you really quickly that also we have real-time actionable insights, even if I'm looking on a cycle level. And in this case, I ordered my test by the testing teams. I have a US team and a test COE team, right? Every folder and every subfolder has its own metric. So I can see, oh, look, my US team is 25% done. My test COE team, all right, they haven't even started yet. They haven't even kicked off yet. So again, very granular. Again, if I want to look at the failed test, I click on it, I go in. Want to see the 15 not run, and I want to broadcast, say, hey guys, you got to get moving. We're paying you money to get this done by the end of the week, because that's when we want to go live. Okay. One other thing I do want to talk about, and then we'll pause for questions. I see that I have about 3 more minutes, so I'd like to take advantage of that. Is we talked about the need for greater compliance, and I'm going to talk through some of our compliance capabilities that are within our platform. Again, the QA managers are going to find this probably a little more interest, and maybe the testers themselves will get frustrated because they'll see some really cool features that are going to make it a little harder for them to do things on the fly. But a lot of our customers, even those that are not running, that do not work, in regulated industries, right? They want a little tighter control over the test asset. So for example, if I have a bunch of people that are, bringing in tests from different places, and I'm building this cycle for this project, and I want to make sure it's 100%, I may not want to kick off and execute that cycle until all the tests that are in there have been reviewed by a second set of eyes. All right. Take it a little further. All right, if I go into, let's go back into the test that we ran. You'll notice here, by the way, they're color coded. So green means that the test is complete, orange is in process, gray means it hasn't started yet, and red is if there was a defect, a critical defect, or a step was failed. Okay, in this case, we passed a step with a minor defect, right? But we can also control, once a cycle gets executed by the test manager, we can control that people can't edit and make changes, right? We can control who can download the test evidence. Once a test is run in a regulated test cycle, we will also have another icon up here that requires a sign off by another party in your company, just to confirm, because you know what? If I'm the QA manager and, Stuart, I came in, right? I got this test to do. How do I know that it was really run the way it was supposed to be run? Just because there's a green light there. In fact, we have customers using non-Panaya testing platforms that say people manually run tests and say it's passed because they just don't want to go through the effort. 99% of the time it works okay. I'll take the heat if something breaks, but I don't have 30 minutes to run the test. Let me just mark it as passed and moved on. But here, I need someone to review the auto-generated test evidence. Again, auto-generated test evidence. Make sure they followed the script, they did the right things, and then there's an e-signature component. So there's an e-signature when I'm building the test before the cycle gets executed. And once executed, I will then e-signature the completion of the test to make sure that they're done well. So there's a whole series of controls in our compliance module that were built not only for regulated industries, but again, for customers that want a little more control over the test steps, and all of the key data that is there. So again, I hope this shows you how Panaya can accelerate the testing experience. Again, whether you're in Agile or not, your company is attempting to run as many innovations as possible in the shortest amount of time. And anytime those innovations are disruptive, they're changing something, all right? It's imperative that the key business stakeholders manually review and validate those changes before they go live in production. It's the business stakeholders that understand the nuances of a certain process and maybe different permutations to make sure they all work okay, right? And so that manual testing plays a critical role. Again, within this hour, I didn't have time to show you our automation platform, which is very, very compelling. I didn't have a chance to show you, let's say, transport or Oracle Analytics that will optimize testing scope. So I only have to run, let's say, 10 tests instead of the entire UAT or regression cycles and things of that nature. But again, I look forward to having future webinars with you in the future, later on. But let's hop back into our environment. And again, just one brief summary here. And please confirm that you see, only my, oh, I hit the wrong one. Sorry. Let's go back. We want to start from the beginning now. Again, you can see that we're not perfect here. All right. It's Shift Alt F5. There we go. Just to summarize, again, we have a very, very powerful, unified testing solution. It combines cross-application interface support, testing defect management baked in. We have native applications for both Jira and Charm, so we can surface the test status directly into those epics, into those user stories, if desired. into the requirements within SAP Solution Manager, if desired. The combination of that manual test, the change analytic correlation to optimize test cycles, and our no-code automation solution just make it the optimal one-stop shop for all your testing needs. We have an ebook that came out that talks about a lot of the cross-application business processes, the scenarios that I talked about earlier in today's session, whether it's a rollout and application rationalization. We have not only specific cases that Panaya is very good at, but for each of them, we actually have a little success story for existing customers that are leveraging our smart testing platform, not just for ERP, for other environments as well. People mentioned, the Workdays of the world, the success factors, et cetera. This ebook will be sent to the audience, to all the participants. But if you want to get ahead of it, you can just go to panaya.com, go to the resources section, and you'll just see it in the list of ebooks right away. Lastly, and most importantly, if you want a deeper demo, if you want to see some of those additional capabilities that I talked about that didn't have time to demo today, feel free to reach out. All right, you can just add something to the chat. You could just just take a look at this. You're going to get an email with the link to the recording, but you can go online to panaya.com, start-demo, and you could just request a demo. We'd be more than happy to learn a little more about what you're doing at your company, what your key challenges are, and again, build a custom demonstration that'll resonate very effectively with you. Something we look forward to doing. Okay, so with the remaining time we have together, we're gonna look at some questions. So I see that there is a chat, and don't see anything here. So any questions that people would want to ask? I don't know, Gilly, if you want to moderate it, that'll be great. I have some older questions from a TDX webinar I did about a year ago. I'll give you a couple of minutes back, but I will go through some of them because they may be valuable to you for your interest. So can Panaya use test assets that are built in other tools and applications? That's actually a great question, because if you remember the first poll, people said, a lot of them said they're using Excel and QC. We actually can import assets from Excel and QC. QC would move to Excel first. We will do the conversion for you into Panaya. So any investment you've made in any legacy test application, if you can get it into Word, PDF, or Excel format, part of your subscription will include a conversion. Our largest testing customer came from Micro Focus QC. They left QC after the Micro Focus acquisition from HP. So that was quite a while ago. But they brought to us, I think it was over 50,000 Excel files, each representing a different test. And we didn't get it done within 48 hours, but we did thousands every week. We got it done within a month, right? So yes, it's very, it's a powerful capability that we provide to all of our customers. Again, I mentioned the automation, but I didn't talk much about it. Can I provide a little more detail? We are offering a no-code automation platform. You remember that when I did the testing, there was that little recorder that was blinking. It's going to be using a similar technology to capture the activity of a user. It'll show more of the script visually. So if I'm building an automation asset, I may want to add, additional command in the middle. Like, let's say it takes a while for something to render because of latency. I might want to add a sleep step for a second or two in between steps that were automatically captured. And at the end, you remember, I finished my test and I visually saw that it was good. So I marked it as passed. In automation, I would need to add a validation step or maybe multiple validation steps across the way, but it's going to leverage a lot of our existing capabilities. And ultimately, it will also provide a mechanism to take recorded manual tests and bring them into automation, so you can fast track the build of your regression cycle from new UAT assets. Someone asked, does Panaya still help companies with ERP upgrades? Yes, you did see that in the logo slide. We still are a best of breed change intelligence platform for SAP, Oracle EBS, and for Salesforce.com. What applications can we test? We gave you some of those logos already. We're finding, and I'm not sure if our product manager is on the call, but some of the newer applications that we've seen over the past year or two that we never saw being tested in Panaya, and that's just shows you how powerful our recording capability is and how robust it is. But applications like not just the Workdays and the success factors, but things like Blue Yonder, Magento. These are applications that are now playing critical roles in more complex business processes that are no longer being run exclusively within ERP. Other customers are moving, out of the core ERP into other edge apps like Concur, Success Factors, Ariba. Those are all SAP cloud tools that are now part of the S/4HANA family, but we have customers that are, and Oracle Fusion Cloud you saw an example of earlier. So again, if it's a web app, we can handle it without any challenges. Some very, very unique thick client applications that we may have to take on a case-by-case basis. How much time does it take to write a scenario in Panaya? Okay, well, we do all the writing for you. If you have a business stakeholder that knows the process and you don't need to build a script, they could just log in, run test recorder. And again, we build that entire script for you. You can leverage that, convert it to Word or PDF and use that as a test script for future UAT tests. All right, so let's see if there are any last second questions. Gilly, if you got anything in our chat or QA area, just share them with me, please.
No, I think we're good.
All right. Okay. I can make jokes that like Rivers, I tend to talk forever, but we did get done within the hour. And I want to thank you all for your time and your participation. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful summer, and I look forward to seeing you all soon in our next webinar. Bye-bye.